So now our plan is that Hampus, I want to present you. I know that John did, but I also want to do. Hampus and I have been working together for some years, and we can come back to that. I just want to say that. And I'm very, very happy you decided to come along with me and with us. And Hannah is a colleague of mine working at the office as one of our therapists. Yeah, and you have also edited an anthology, not yet published, but hopefully it will be. So I leave the word for you, I suppose. No. So, will you say? Kommer du att säga att du läser och att sen Hampus och jag kommer att prata?
Oh.
Okay, then I leave. Okay.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Yes, you can. Yes, my name is Hanna and I work with Karina and the rest of our group here. And yes, I will tell you a little bit about something that I have been working with for 1.5 years now. And that is that I have talked to some of the people that have come to our organization. Some of them have lived in a family home and some of them have come to us for therapy or conversation or support in different ways. And it began with the thought that this would be a way to evaluate our work. Because when I met these people, I asked them how their life was before they came to us and the reason for them to come to us. And then I asked them if the time with us was helpful and what was the most important, and also if there was something that could have been different. And then I asked them what their life looks today and if they have dreams and goals. And pretty soon during these years, it becomes so clear to me that this is something more than just evaluations of the work we do. And this is real life stories that these people have chosen to share with me and now also soon with you, because they will be published in a book. And so these stories is about the Family Care Foundation, but it's also about a lot of other things that has happened in these people's lives. And now I will read from parts of my conversation with Hampus, and we had that for about 1 year ago, I think. 1.5 years ago, maybe. So now you have to just sit down and listen. Hampus contacted the Family Care Foundation after he had been committed to a psychiatric ward twice. At the time, he lived in Umeå, in the northern Sweden, which is more than 1,000 kilometers from Gothenburg. He wanted to stop taking psychopharmaceuticals, which the doctors had told him he would need to take for the rest of his life. I met Hampus at our office in a room that is beside the room where he sees Karina for therapy sessions. I wonder if he is also thinking that she is sitting in there during our conversation, perhaps having a session with someone. I have exchanged a few words with Hampus earlier when I have seen him at the Family Care Foundation, and I know a little about his history. I have a feeling that there is much for me to ask and much for him to tell. And Hampus starts. I sought help because I had suffered from 2 so-called psychoses and had been put into a psychiatric ward. That was 3 years ago when I was 17. I was looking for an alternative to psychiatric treatment because I didn't feel I was respected by the people working with it. Actually, it was more that they didn't pay much attention to my own story. I guess that's what I wanted, to find someone who would listen. I ended up calling Karina because I did a lot of research on my own. Yes, you see, I've always been interested in psychology. I was so drugged up and lethargic in many ways. I just didn't want to do anything. Trying to find a way to get better was the only thing that kept me going. So that's how I ended up at the Family Care Foundation. And it started with conversations on the phone because I'm from Umeå, but now I live here in Gothenburg. And I ask, you said that you were put into a psychiatric ward because of your so-called psychosis. Do you yourself call what happened to you a psychosis? Actually, yes. I probably do say psychosis in my own manner of speaking, but when I talk to Corina, she doesn't want to use that term. But I mean, I only take it as a way to describe what happened and not a reason for what happened. I don't think it was just a coincidence or that there is something wrong with my brain, like the doctors tried to convince me there was. They showed me a graph, and I remember the doctors showed me a paper and said, it goes up and down this way for normal people, but for you perhaps the span is this big. For you it will always go up and down a little more, and in a case like this you have to take medicine. You must understand, because this is how your brain is constructed. I wasn't at all willing to accept that, what he said, in part because I had learned that some people were critical about giving diagnoses like this. But mostly because I felt very strongly that what I was going through wasn't just random. This was so extraordinarily clear to me when it happened. There was definitely something that made me become psychotic. Then afterwards I could remember what I was thinking and feeling and could understand the logic of it, even if it might not make sense to others and might not always be based on reality. So you can see some logic in it now, I ask. Yes, and I feel like Karina has given me help with this too, to understand more about it, and I think it's also been important to understand why it happened, because I don't think it was something that just popped up. I think it was something that was already there, that I already had. We talked about this, and Karina never reacts by saying that something is strange, no matter how strange I might feel it is myself. No matter what I have told Karina, she has never once said that it is wrong or it is not possible to think or feel that way. It still blows me away sometimes to get such an open reaction from her, even though I know that's her mindset. I mean, I'm talking about stuff that either I think is strange or that I feel sure someone else will think is strange. And it's really comforting not to get the reaction I expect. This stuff is so sensitive, it's hard to talk about, even though I know how Karina usually reacts. And I ask, you start out by talking over the telephone. What was that like? What made it worth talking to someone in Gothenburg on the phone? I don't think I saw it as hard to talk on the phone. I just needed to make contact in any way I could. It was more when I was searching and trying to find an alternative to psychiatric care that I wonder if it was worth it, but it was pretty clear that it was. Somehow I felt this was worth doing in my life because I didn't want to live the way I was living. And I didn't think I would get out of it if I didn't get any other help than just taking medicine. You don't take any medicine at all today, I ask. No, and I haven't done so for over a year. That was like one of the things that drove me the most. I could hardly see beyond it because it was so very... Yes, everything bad was associated with those pills. Stopping with those pills was a necessary step to be able to move forward. And I knew, of course, that Karina's view on taking medicine was different from many other people's views, which was also one of the reasons I got in touch with her. But Karina never said I should stop taking the medicine. I made that decision through my own will. So how has she supported you in this? Partly by helping me work through what happened, the two psychotic episodes, how and why they occurred, and the thoughts and feelings behind them. And by talking about the feelings I have now, and also my fears which unavoidably came after everything I had been through. Going off the medicine really scared me too. I was of course afraid the same thing would happen again, and I'd be back where I started. So we talked a lot about those things. I knew I could turn to Karina if something happened. I knew I had someone to talk to about it and someone who didn't see it as something sick. What has it been like for you to live with a diagnosis given to you by doctors? Well, the diagnosis I got was bipolar disorder, and when I got it, my reaction was that I didn't believe them, not at all. When I was committed, I was of course still inside those feelings and thoughts that were so profoundly real to me. So at that point, it was really strange to start thinking that all this is just sick, and I don't know if that's possible. But even afterwards, when I got to be more normal, whatever you want to call it, I understood those thought processes. I really did. I couldn't accept that they were sick. But the problem is that you can't get out of the psych ward unless you admit you are sick and agree that you need to take medicine. If you say you don't believe you are sick and you say you are going to stop taking all the medicine, they think it's a part of the illness, that you are denying it, or they say that if that's how you feel, we won't let you out. When I spoke to a psychiatrist about it, he said, if you stop taking your medicine, it costs us money, and you are a danger to society, and we might have to take it to court. He also made it clear that they weren't going to let me out if I dropped all the medicine. That made it necessary for me to lie to them and say that naturally I didn't intend to stop taking the meds. But it was a little like I had to play along, because you have to show them that they are right or they won't let you out. It was a little like, I think the fact that I had to play along has had an effect on me, because I sometimes have not been able to get away from the thought that maybe there is something sick about me. But as I said, I have been off the meds for a year now, so I have more and more reason to believe it's not at all like they think. And this is also something I would like to dig into more deeply. I would like to tell people what it was like and how I actually managed to get by without the medicine the doctor said I would have to live with the rest of my life. And I would like for people to start asking themselves if medication really is the right thing. Yes. Thank you for listening. And thank you. Yes.
I will come. Så. Den sitter fast i min kjole.
Nej, men vänta. Den ska vara här. Den ska nog sitta här, tror jag.
Den är så röd. Until now we have planned, but this what will happen now is not planned.
No.
So where shall we start? Have you any idea, Hampus, or do you, Hannah, have any idea where to start from this?
I had a thought in my head when I was reading how it was for you to listen to it and sit beside me. Of course, we have talked about this before, and you knew this, and
yeah, I had read it myself, so I knew what was coming. But I think I felt quite comfortable with it. Of course, it's strange to hear an interview of yourself read out aloud. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I can say, I guess.
Yeah.
It brings up memories, of course.
I also want to answer to your question, Hannah, how it was to listen.
Mm-hmm.
I have also read it once, but I got very moved when I listened to the words, and very motivated to carry on the work we do. So that happened to me. I have promised you, of course, that we will not, so to speak, dig into you in this conversation. More to talk about, if there is something which could, as you say in the conversation with Hannah, could also be maybe useful for other people, or something. If there is something, we could talk about it, and yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Do you want me to I don't know. Do you want me to start something?
If you want to.
I don't know. Okay. Well, no. I want you to start. I guess.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Then I would like to say that the reason for me to inviting you to join me here today is that, first of all, you have something important to contribute with. I also wanted you to meet again Olga and Daniel and the people you have met already in Gothenburg. And it made me also remember that sometimes when it was hard times, I think I used to tell something about Olga, for example, because that also encouraged me to believe in our project, so to speak.
Yeah.
That I do know people. Nowadays, fortunately, a lot of people who have experienced to stop being patient, so to speak, and come to live in another way. But also, since, as I have understood it, you have also sometimes said that you really want to find a way to be part in this.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to be part of it. I guess ever since that happened, I've been wanting to do something about it. I feel like what happened was a great injustice to me, and I know a lot of people experience the same things. And since I have seen it from the inside, I think I guess I can be of use. But I don't right now. I'm a little just paralyzed because I didn't prepare anything.
No. And we don't have to sit here so much either. But we can just see, and there might be some questions maybe. And I also, another thing, when I listened to Hannah reading, and I also thought that of course I was very happy to hear that it was helpful for you to see me, but it also made me realize that I am surrounded also by a lot of other people who makes it possible also for me to be there.
Yeah.
So that also became very clear to me in a way. Because you never lived in a family home.
No.
No. So shall we stop by now, or?
I don't know. Yeah, we can.
Or do you have some questions to me or to Hannah, or something about this?
No. Well, I guess I know I have a lot to say. It's just I guess I think I don't know. I think you. It's hard to decide what to tell, because I guess my feeling is that most of you have heard the story. I don't know.
You mean the people here have
Yeah.
already heard the stories?
Yeah, the same. Yeah. So I just don't know what about my story to tell, I guess.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Hampus decide.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, you can ask me.
How old are you now?
I'm 22.
22. Well, you remind me about when I was 23 and escaped from the closed ward in psychiatry. But the huge difference is my story. There was nobody I could tell my story because nobody wanted to listen. This was in the early 70s when I was a refugee running from the closed ward in psychiatry. Nobody wanted to listen, and that's what gives me a dream about the future, because already you're that young, you have this wisdom. It's wisdom. You have to know it's wisdom. There's only a few people who knows like we what is going on. What this is, I mean, it's anti-human what you explained, and I mean that. Let me speak openly.
Yeah.
This stupid asshole who told you these lies about your future, he wanted to kill you, kill your future. He wanted to take away your future from you. He should be maybe not punished. I'm not full of hate, but at least he should be confronted with what he could have done with you if you didn't have had that strength or wisdom to say, no, I don't believe you. I make my own decision. I have my own will. I'm a human. I'm an adult. I decide. If you hadn't, you would have ended as a chronic patient. Your life length would have been 20 years shorter. Your brain would have been destroyed. He said there was something wrong with your brain. I mean, he would have destroyed your brain. So your wisdom was, no, I don't believe. This is a question about religion. I mean, he has a religion. He wanted to push his religion on you because he has a belief system which is wrong, which is anti-science. You are in the true world. He lives in a strange world with a belief system which is opposite with reality. That's why I was really touched, and I think you should feel very happy because there's an audience. We didn't have an audience, us elder people from the movement, we didn't have an audience. Nobody listened. We went in the shadows. We met small groups, and we had to meet in small groups to get strength from each other. So this is a chance, I mean, really, to move things to the better. Like you to speak openly about what is wrong and how could I get the help I need. You use your will, your own will to decide who can help me, and you were very happy there was somebody who could manage. Well, it's just my thoughts about it. I think it's brilliant.
Yes.
Thank you, Carl.
So I don't know, but my question, I would ask you a question.
Yeah.
How do you think about confronting this so-called doctor, how do you think about confronting him about being totally wrong, sending him into an open audience? He's there, you're there. You can tell him you were totally wrong. What could you learn from this? Could you dream about that?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, my first reaction though is that it wouldn't matter if I said it, because as I've heard from a lot of people, well, when you try to explain to a psychiatrist about these kinds of things, well, look, I made it without medications, then they just say, well, then you didn't have a disorder in the first place. I guess, but I guess it would be fun. So why not? I guess I still have these awkward feelings about psychiatry. I guess I don't want to have contact with them.
No.
So.
I think we will end now because we have to follow the instructions and the structure, and that is to give space for Leticia and John. And we will come back. Or shall we sit here?
We say